Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everybody. So it's Trina Wright. Today is day 46 of 365 days of realizations. I am not outside, as you can see, because I am at the hotel that Abraham Hicks was at today in Sacramento. I decided to spend the night, so I had booked a room so that I could just be with myself, be with my inner being, have a date with my inner being, dance with my inner being, play with my inner being, and just enjoy the high vibes that I had today from being so close to them, from being in the room, from being in their vibration. And I have lots of reflections about that I want to share. But first, what I just want to talk about, and then I'm going to leave the rest till tomorrow, is that the reason that I'm doing this is because I prioritize this relationship. I know that my relationship with my inner being is the most important thing. And I know that my attunement into that relationship is by far the most powerful thing that I can do. And not only that, it's one of the easiest things I can do because it is right here. And though today I decided to do it here at this hotel, that really isn't necessary. As you know and see, I vibe up, I attune, I dance with my inner being, I play with my inner being all the time, outside, at the trail, throughout my whole life, in the kitchen, when I dance around and cook, when I'm looking at my children and I see them as the source beings that they are, when I wake them up every morning and say, good morning, being of love and light, when I look at my aligned partner and really, really see past his persona, past the identity that he is taking on to play here, and just know that he too is a source being. We're all a source, dressed in these clothes, dressed in these identities that aren't really us. And so I want to attune to that, and I want to play in that, and I want to be in that. And I know that by making that my top priority, everything else in my life will be smoother, everything else in my life will be better, and that this takes focus. It's interesting because I will mention there was a little bit of a conversation today that happened around doing the work of coming into attunement, what Abraham Hicks is calling calibration. And I will share a little bit more about that process tomorrow. But what's interesting about it is one of the hot seaters had said, it sounds a lot like discipline. And we have decided that there's something negative about that. Like, to be in flow means that there is no discipline. But at the same point, I think it's valid and worth noting that since we have sort of been taken into the delusion, we've sort of mislearned about who we are. We sort of believed that we were this body, believed that we're a person, believed we're a character, believed so many false premises, like working hard will get you what you want, or that you need to be compassionate to other people, even when they're choosing to feel a way that you know is not the way that you want to feel. They are going against their own alignment, but you think you should feel for them and be like sympathetic and have compassion for their situation when they're the creator of their own reality. So there's so many false premises operating, so much sort of programming that we've all been subject to that took us away from our truth, that took us away from our source. So to get back to that, it is going to take a little bit of discipline. It is going to take making it a priority. Make it a priority. Turn off the TV. Spend some time with your inner being. Put away the video game. Put away the distractions, whatever it is. There's some healthy distractions and there's some that aren't so healthy. But the idea of things that we're consuming, I often think about it like that, consuming versus producing. So TV, watching a movie, even things like eating, going out and like making it a really extensive date of eating. That's fun and there's a lot of joy in it, but at the same time, what are we doing with it? What's the conversation we're filling ourselves with? What's the choice of the movie if we were going to do that? How and what really will serve us better in the moment? What takes me to knowing that I am source more? Dancing around and playing this way with my inner being, or watching that movie. And just don't get me wrong, there's lots of movies that are uplifting, there's lots of movies that can bring us back to that energy, but remember that we've been layered with lots and lots of beliefs that, like, I need to veg out, I need to do things to sort of soothe myself because I work so hard, because I had to do all week something I didn't want to do. And there's the kicker. If we were doing something we loved, if we were flowing in the fullness of who we are in whatever we were doing, then all of that would go away. We wouldn't feel the need to be so distracted. We wouldn't feel the need to be so into this idea of relaxation. We'd be filled with energy. We'd be vitalized. We'd be ready to go. And that's what you have access to when you connect with your inner being. So, it's like a no-brainer. Why wouldn't we do that? It's right there. It's available to us. And believe it or not, it's the ticket. Because when we get into that attunement, when we get into that alignment, when we start to see the world the way our inner being does, when we try to keep up with our own expansion, which our inner being is guiding us to. So we just relax into that and let the guidance come, everything gets easier. Everything goes smoother because we took the time. So that's part of what I'm doing today. I'm flying on the heels of the high vibration that was in this building, that was in this hotel for the morning and into the afternoon with all of those Abers. And then I went out for lunch with a group of them. So that was super fun and super attuning and super convincing that, you know what, this is the way to do it. And I didn't need any convincing because you all know that that's how I roll, but it's still fun. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. And I'm going to just spend some time reflecting and contemplating and thinking about where thought went for me and what new things arose, what things were sort of validated. I mean, that is one of the things that happens with this, is that because of all that time we spent in delusion, all that time that we were taught false premises, it takes a little bit of time when those things come into our knowing now. Like, oh yeah, that's right, I remembered that. Or I already knew it, but then when you hear it over and over and over, it helps to let it land. And then when we can have the time to sort of take it as a reference point and just go back through our own experiential life and go, oh yeah, that's right. I know Abraham says experience teaches, words don't teach, experience teaches. And the funny thing is that they could offer, and I could offer many words to many people. I see this in my children, but if they don't know it for themselves because they have the experience attached to it, it doesn't land and it doesn't resonate and it doesn't take them to the same place. So that's part of what I'm going to do today. And then I will tune in with you tomorrow and share a little bit more about some of the details of what they were talking about. It's so interesting to me because one of the things that they presented as sort of a new technique is something I'd already been playing with and doing, though I called it something different and looked at it a little differently. And their approach was a tiny bit different. So it's a whole new skill. And I think it's demonstrating that people are starting to move closer into seeing the value in this calibration, in this time of connecting with your inner being. So I'm going to go have my little day, play with my inner being. I'm going to write and I'm going to imagine my future. I'm going to calibrate. I'm going to attune to my inner being. And I'm going to be awake and conscious so that if something comes up, I am going to be relentless in my willingness to discover what it is about, surrender and let it go. Or just choose something different because it no longer resonates. Whatever, just have that ability to sit with it, to do it, to move through it, because I am choosing to be the infinite being that I am, to recognize myself as such, to know that I am source in a body, and that I can be, do, or have anything. So I am riding on that, and I invite you to do the same. Bye.